Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Stone by Stone. It hasn't exactly been a year. It's still 2025, but we are now on season 2. Some might say it's off season 2 or pre-season 1. It's very hard to say at this point. However, I am very, 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 very pleased to be joined by my dear friend and someone that the Edgewater Castle community has gotten to know very, very well through his work. Edgewater Castle's very own Kadin McGreevy, our artist in residence of sorts. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. I've truly been listening to episodes of this, thinking about I can't wait. I feel like it's a very unique thing to get to be on a podcast you love listening to.
That's very nice.
And with a good friend too. So.
Yeah, thank you. We have a lot of different things to talk about. Mostly based around soccer, but not exclusively. Just for context, I've now sort of gotten to know Kadin exclusively through the club, basically, for the most part. I mean, our paths sort of crossed through the arts over the years a little bit, but we really got to know each other when you came to try out for the team when we first started in 2018.
I have a screenshot of that Facebook message from you, like a very fateful day. Kind of
Sure. Yeah. Describe what your memory of that tryout was? Out of curiosity.
Well, for starters, I hadn't played at all since high school. Really, went to college 4 years, moved to Chicago, and got a text message. I think from a friend of mine who I think had mentioned to you. You would put out a blast or something like that. That was hey, looking for soccer players, a mass audition kind of call.
Right.
And theater background, it registered a Venn diagram of two different things. He was hey, I happened to mention to some guy with 3 names, you do soccer, so expect a call in the night kind of
call.
And so it was a Facebook message that was just hey, can you play soccer? Come to this tryout. And it's sort of they say theater is the way to make connections, and that's not how I expected that going.
Sure,
having people in your life that are he'd never seen me play.
Yeah.
Even that, I think just on word of mouth was he can kick a ball.
Yeah.
So he's probably someone I can suggest. But I was teaching kindergarten at the time. I took an Uber from right after class, wiping kids snot off of my kneecaps and putting on cleats. I had to buy cleats because they didn't fit me anymore. That kind of thing. Showed up to, was it Chase?
It was Sen.
Sen.
Yeah, Sen High School.
That's right.
Shout out Sen High School.
Yeah, it's a great spot.
Yeah.
And it was I'm sure we'll talk more about my soccer rearing and background, but it was such a departure from anything I was ever used to in terms of just the different walks of life, truly the different cultures, different the language, and it was sort of showing up and realizing almost immediately that the structure that you've known all your life of juggling, kicking the ball, playing a little keep away before tryouts start is kind of a universal thing that you've learned. Mm-hmm. And regardless of if you came from a tiny town in Idaho or there was folks from all over the place, and didn't matter the moment of just getting to kick a ball. And I think getting into, even though I kind of missed it, I didn't play soccer as a kid, it felt that kind of moment of play where all of a sudden all of you get to pretend together, or get to imagine together, or get to kind of make up which hero or character you want to be, and and what that really was just showing off the things that you kind of knew how to do, your little juggling trick. Around the world, or all this kind of stuff. That was just sort of everyone take your little turn in the dance circle of showing the few things that you can do. And I just remember vividly leaving that practice, my cheeks hurting from smiling, just being so moved by the experience of getting to kind of commune in this little boy way, and also adult way,
And there was only, I think, 8 people there.
Was there? Oh,
yeah, I mean, it was a very small group. I have a photo of that first tryout, and it's you, Edgar Oropeza, who's now getting involved in the club again as a sponsor.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Shout out to Edgar.
Shout out Edgar.
Olivier Marambo.
Yep.
Absolutely. Olivier, who's now back in I believe Congo, if I'm not mistaken. Amazing dude. But yeah, it was just this like group of people, several of whom I still know. And like you were that's our first ever event. Was this first ever tryout we did. 8 people showed up. 3 or 4 of them are like still very good friends, and like you are still here working with the club, right? So that's a good percentage, I think, for a first ever. The retention wise,
absolutely
incredible.
It was like the end. I just remember the end of tryout too. Like I was expecting, you get a random text from someone who's like, "Hey, do you want to like try out for a soccer team?" Like had no sense of the level of seriousness of it.
Yeah,
I remember like we were getting a sense of like our skill level. But I will never forget that at the end, like we were all just like sitting together, taking our shin guards off and stuff. And Olivier's friend like came out of just like walked up like he was just waiting up for us to be done, and he was like or passing by was kind of the energy.
Yeah.
And he just had like a dozen donuts, and he like handed them out to all of us. And it was just like, and I was just reckoning with the fact that like sports and competition and like playing for your spot.
Yeah.
And it was like the antithesis of that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, hey guys, good practice. Here's a bunch of donuts. Like getting back to being like a kid orange slice.
Yeah, orange slice vibes for sure. Yeah. Free donuts on the first tryout is just a good omen, I think, in general.
100%.
So that's how Kadin and I know each other, folks. We've known each other a long time, basically since the birth of the club. You've been around. But we're now going to reorient the conversation, starting with your birth. So tell me about exactly what you remember. So
perfect.
Basically, you grew up in Iowa. No, you grew up in Idaho. Cut that. Oh God, please cut that.
And actually, it's a good talking point.
Let's talk about Iowa first.
That's how it's introduced. It's actually part of the like bylaws that you start by saying Iowa.
Oh God, don't try to make me feel better. Okay, we're gonna. So I hear you're from Idaho.
Yes.
Amazing.
Rumors are true.
Yeah, rumors are true. So Idaho is a fascinating state. I feel like it's a state not a lot of people know a ton about. I can already tell you're excited about this section, but like, what would you have to tell people about like what it was like growing up in Idaho?
Yeah, I think I had a very specific Idaho upbringing. I was born in Boise, which is the capital. Moved when I was like 2, so I don't have a ton of recollection of that. That's very much now like a city vibe, like any kind of that range city kind of world.
They just got their USL franchise. Yeah.
And it was like that was the big city. Like that was the place, you know, where you went school shopping if you wanted to drive 6 hours, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I grew up in Moscow, Idaho, which is like a really small. It's a college town, University of Idaho, like state school. In the northern panhandle, if we're using the like lingo of the taught that like every year in school. Tell them it's the panhandle, they'll get it, kind of thing. And it's a really interesting, like, this isn't a podcast on like topography, but like very interesting region, like the Palouse Hills is what it's called, and it's like a very small section of the state that's like rolling from, I think like a dam broke like a bajillion years before that like formed the hill. So it's kind of, people try kind of really like PR'd for it to be like the Tuscany of
the Tuscany of
Idaho. Like not even the US. Like the is like a more specific version.
Yeah, it's called the Napa Valley, right? Yeah,
absolutely.
But the Tuscany of Idaho is available.
Because it was absolutely not taken. Like little college town, truly like blue dot, extremely red.
Yes,
state, kind of energy.
Totally.
All my friends growing up were like in and around the school. Their parents were teachers, or the education, like that was kind of the central nervous system. Like growing up, and the people that I surrounded myself with. But a very kind of crunchy granola section of town, and very like salt of the earth farm folk.
Yeah.
And sort of only now like going back and seeing it again, realizing the true like this little town and like the like kind of strange hippie happening that is like that was certainly kind of my like upbringing faction.
Idaho is interesting because it's like it's the West, but it's also very far north. Right. So it's like it's almost like it's definitely not the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, although we would probably say it is, which is wild.
Right. Like I'm sure people from Idaho are probably like, well, we're right here, actually.
Yeah. We are 7 miles from the Washington border. That was like people were always saying like trying the ARPS section of Idaho was trying to be the Pacific Northwest.
Got
Southern
it.
Idaho was
The
trying to be
Tuscany of
Texas,
Idaho,
trying
right?
to
That's why you coin yourselves that phrase.
100%. We were doing a lot of PR.
Yeah,
PR
just
work
really trying to
throwing, like spaghetti.
like so close to Seattle.
Yeah. 6 hours also.
Yeah. So growing up in Idaho, though, like what were your creative inspirations? Right? Was it all nature based, or was there, what made you want to get into being a creative person as a kid there?
I think it was the people that I was surrounded by. I was like not a particularly like nature kid. It was tons. It was kind of like so ingrained in your day to day. Like I think about how I like looked at little mountains like every day and trees, and like that was just so much a part of who I was, but wasn't like. It's only inspiring now, like returning. I'm like, oh my God, like I was surrounded by like this level of lushness.
You weren't like going hiking, you were just like walking around.
Yeah, it was like walking down to the soccer field every day. It was like you hit that hill and you'd like see the like little Moscow mountain and like see the like, and that was just so part of the scenery that it like wasn't really something I thought about at all. And then like now it's like, oh my God, I was like absorbing that.
Yeah.
But I would say a lot of it was the people that I was surrounded by. My parents were really good friends with both theater professors. They were my godparents, and getting to be in and around them and like watching them make plays and going to all their stuff, and just getting kind of an exposure to like, I think the whole like theme of being in Idaho was kind of like glimpses of a greater, bigger world. Glimpses of like, and it's beautiful for what it is, but kind of I feel like throughout my life there were like little moments of just like, oh, like, and they came from Illinois, and like, oh, and they like went to school in Normal, and they did the theater thing, and they have friends all over, and just like little glimpses of that kind of like twinkle in their eye of what the world could be.
Totally.
And I think that was a huge part of I had really creative siblings, like all three of them in very, very different ways. There's like a 6-year age gap between my closest. It's like Maura, my oldest sister, Martin, and Mitchell. And then Kadin, like they gave up on kind of the M related thing.
It's really annoying how similar we are. I'm also the youngest by quite a lot.
Yeah, I guess we've talked about
we have talked about this probably many years ago at this point. But yeah, so the influence of like your siblings, your family, who are probably connected to a much more artistic scene in Idaho than many.
Yeah.
That probably had a bigger influence on it too, right?
Yeah, and their friend groups and like things they were interested in. We were very much like a basketball family. That was like, we had like 3 hoops in the backyard.
Yeah.
And like my dad, that's what he did.
Yeah.
Like,
You're kind of a tall guy. You're a tall person.
I wouldn't say I'm the shortest of the group, but it's debatable whether I'm tied for shortest.
Got it. You would say not.
I would say I'm second tallest.
Yeah, of course.
Crazy energy kind of
yeah,
thing.
Nice.
But yeah, it was like all basketball. Like that was kind of that was a creative outlet for a long time. And then it was sort of like, all my siblings were homeschooled until like 6th or 7th grade. Talking of like co-op.
Totally.
Like country Idaho.
Yes.
And they're all so much smarter than me, and also were so much better at school once they got there. And I was like the only one to go through like K through 12. So just get me in that system and let me get terrible grades.
I can't wait to not fit the mold.
quickly tried that out. But they were like, because of that extra time of just getting to be probably like outside and like experiencing their own form of learning, like very quickly kind of diverged into all these paths. My brother Martin was like really into photography and guitar like in high school, and Mitch was like extremely outdoorsy and took the kind of alternative sports route of like cross country, like played basketball too, but was very much like a kind of like lionish figure in his like class in a way that I really really admired and looked up to. And my sister was like a dancer and extremely athletic too, but was very much like, she was like born and was like, I'm moving to New York kind of energy.
Of course.
Who she was. But they all were another little glimpse of like a different type of how to be creative. And my whole world was like figuring out a way that I could kind of follow those paths they'd carved, and then also like find my own paths to diverge on, to make sure like declare like, I'm not an M name like the rest of them RAM names. Like K-name's doing something else.
Wow, your parents really did and make a separator there.
I will say that they did not do it intentionally, and my dad wanted to name me Montana, and that would have been a huge disaster. Like I would have been a very different person.
I mean, you're from Idaho.
Yeah, like I would have known how to fix things in my car, and I don't. That was a decision they made, and instead I make digital
digital posters for soccer teams.
My
Speaking
wrist
of
hurt.
speaking of soccer, how did you from a basketball like arts family? Where did soccer come in?
Really late. It was like I actually really vividly remember the day that my friend Nick Celebrezzi, shout out to Nick Celebrezzi.
Shout out Nick Celebrezzi.
He called me on the phone, landline, and was like, "Hey, we have a soccer team called Moscow United. Do you want to be a part of it?" And I like knew they all played soccer. None of my siblings played any soccer.
Yeah.
There's no part of that in our life like at all.
Yeah.
And I was like standing at the window, like looking out in like our front yard, and I think about it now because it's like that was a decision that things, but also like just something that I love so much and that I spend so much time like absorbing, and saying yes, like to him being like, "Do you want to be part of the team?" was like a huge moment.
Yeah.
I showed up, I was like playing baseball at the time. I had no understanding of what was required, like shoulder pads, what are we talking about? Like, what's the deal? I showed up in like baseball socks that were like just the wrong length, because they're those ones, where the pants like go to like a certain length. So I was like weird blue socks and like running Asics shoes.
Yeah.
And I like showed up to the field like, "I'm ready to play the football. Like, sign me up, coach." And they like sent me right back. They were like, go to the sporting goods store. Like, you gotta get
you need some stuff.
Where'd you find this kid? Like, which one of you called? Like that one. And I got those like, the like, they're less shin guards, more like gauntlet.
Oh yeah,
like,
of course. They cover the outside of the ankle. They have like the hard
support for your aging ankles.
Yeah, 10-year-olds.
Yeah, and like over kind of so long they couldn't grasp like shin length at that point, so it was partially like a thigh.
Yeah, just coming over your knee a little bit as you bend it. Yeah,
it kind of like squishes the gap. Yeah, like showed back up, and I had like I think it was like the Nike version of the Tiempos, like Legends or whatever. They were like this plastic kind of situation, and I was really bad. Like I was like, I think about it because it was. I think they recruited like in mass. I think they were down numbers. I think it wasn't like the generosity, kindness solely of like my friend knowing my future was in his hands in this moment.
Yeah.
It was like, "Hey, we need a lot of guys like on this team. Please come play." And it was like the crossroads of another guy who played basketball, who was showing signs of getting tall before I was, who was like goalie, like get him in goal.
Yep.
And I think like had he not been there, it would have been like, Kadin plays basketball. He showed up in running shoes. Like,
clearly we found our weirdo.
Let's have him stand still somewhere.
To put it in goal.
Let's put him over there, please.
Of course.
So yeah, like I played and I was really, really bad. I had definitely had endurance, and that was something that like kept me. I don't think I started for a number of years. It was
What position were you playing?
I must have started at that time somewhere, like if there was a rover.
Yeah.
Like just kind of put
free roaming,
midfieldy, like kind of just put him out. And like my coaches were dads with no soccer back. Like one of my coaches, like prerequisite was that his wife was German and loved soccer. That was he was a tight end.
That's how a lot of dads end up coaching soccer.
And like golden hearted, and truly like they were learning as much as we were at the same time. And I think us loving it so much. We were very like tight knit. It was where they kind of put all the kids who weren't playing basketball or playing. There's the rat tails per capita in our group were like higher than in other like sports.
I remember only real ones will remember how many rat tails there were in America at a certain time in their childhood. It was a lot. It was like you'd go to the grocery store and you'd expect to see 3 or 4 kids with a rat tail 100%. Just like wandering around with their parents. It was amazing.
Those were all my friends.
Every single one.
Actually, they were some of our best players.
Yeah, I bet.
They had some tech for sure.
The Venn diagram of rat tail to soccer player being good was pretty damn near a circle.
Yeah.
For a while there.
Yeah, but I was really bad for a huge chunk of time, and it wasn't until like 9th grade. My brother Martin like had moved back home. He was going to go to college at the university, and we sort of had this kind of it's not ships passing in the night, but the moment we're kind of be synced up in terms of like our next phase of growth, where like he was coming back to like figure out what he wanted to do and like what he wanted to major in, how he wanted to navigate his life 8 years ahead of me, right? And for me, it was like going into high school, like trying out for like the actual varsity JV kind of team moment where you're no longer in that kind of small pond. even though it's a small pond as a town. And we would just play in the basement, like, those like SpongeBob, those like Walmarty balls with the like kind of squishy, rubbery situation. We would just like kick those against the mattress in the basement and like we'd use the like cover of the mattress to like use top corner ball.
Of course, yeah.
Block each other. We called it like Saskaballs. We like shoot. If the keeper saved, we like shoot it in the trash can. And it was like fun. And it was just the two of us like getting to be together. But ultimately it was like, I didn't know it, but I was doing like intense touch training. And
of course.
Was actually getting like very like supple, like settling ability that I had no, like, I was just having fun.
Yeah.
And I remember like the boom, like synapses kind of touching moment of like coming to like summer pickups and being like, oh, I have control over the ball now. Oh, I can like, it's moving with like the matrix is like kind of happening.
The bullets are stopping.
Like, oh my God.
Suddenly.
Yeah, big moment. And then it was like, if I was rover before, it was kind of a similar, like played center mid. Played like out wide. Never played defense, which is funny considering where I ended up. But like playing in the center. I remember a coach saying like put me in a position where I can kind of see everything in front of me. Like they were always encouraging me to run more. They always like knew I wanted to run more. It says a lot psychologically about me. And I'm sure like anyone talks about their sporting years, like how they, like what their coaches said about them. And mine was like runs if he wants to, needs to kind of see everything in front of him.
I am gonna shift ever so slightly to like what you remember most about playing soccer and like what general life lesson things that sort of has taught you, or like let me just ask the question straight up. Did you find that the lessons you learned on the soccer field translated into your life and eventually your work as an artist?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the moment like choosing to play soccer and when I was playing basketball and playing baseball, the main like thing about why I was so drawn to it was it felt like a place where I could actually kind of be myself. I think I was really reckoning at that point, as I think a lot of people do, with our relationship to winning, relationship to sports, relationship, in my case, to masculinity, and like to having coaches modeling for you kind of how to navigate these little microcosms of life, right? Like you're losing, you're winning, you're practicing, you're trying, you're growing. And I had a lot of coaches in other sports. I was really lucky to have my dad as a coach for a lot of my basketball life. And he was a real model for me. If he was kind of catching all the players that couldn't make the A club team into our little group of high rat tail per capita. Team. And I don't think we won a single game, but there was like life lessons within that. And a lot of people railing against the fact we were losing. But ultimately, like I look back in that time and think about how he really modeled that there was another reason to be here, another reason to like be in community with other people and to try your best together. And even if that isn't ultimately successful, but right after that, it was like a like splash of cold water into being in the world of like baseball and basketball and I like have the utmost amount of like understanding for like trying to get a group of people together to do anything, and how that can be challenging when they're all, going into high school or whatever it may be. Like I have so much like understanding for that. But the messaging that I was receiving in those places were very much like, if you don't win, you're not worth anything. If you don't, if you're not doing this correctly, and also if you're not like performing your masculinity, if you're not performing like your rub some dirt on it kind of mentality,
right?
Like the stuff, the unprocessed kind of sludge that they were working through in their lives was seeping into what was being taught to us. Of course. And I experienced a ton of that like in organized sport. And soccer was the first place where, as much as it was like the coaches learning on the fly about what the sport was, and as much as there's like plenty of critique to be had for that, there was a golden heartedness to it, and a way that I think they saw that our group was being given something, a safe place to be ourselves. We had kids doing Rubik's cubes on the bench, like, which eventually they had to stop as they thought it wasn't like that intimidating to have that. But honestly, in retrospect, it probably was.
Kind of.
But it definitely like taught me that there was, again, like that glimpse of like a place where you could actually be yourself, where you could actually like, I think it's one of the few places where I also was like went in really bad and like watched that trajectory of growing and being getting better.
Yeah.
I feel like as a person, I've spent a lot of time trying to avoid being in a situation where you're just kind of bad at it at first, you know? And getting to do that like in a group of your friends and getting to watch them grow and like watch yourself grow was like that I think about how much that had an effect on what I sought out for like in my artistic life.
Yeah.
In doing theater, like being in community with people and like trying things together. And trying to cultivate a space that isn't like first and foremost about winning. I think that was a huge part of like that was the easiest route. And then I just had a really great coach my junior year. This guy Abilio Montero, who was he was a history teacher in Genesee, Idaho, which is population 700.
Okay,
he's from Portugal, and I had two like young sons. And I just remember him like rolling up every day in his like red van with the bag full of balls and like I think now about like what that must have been like to be navigating little Idaho, you know, and like navigating teaching history in this like tiny town and then like showing up because he like loved this game. And he was another like huge glimpse of like, he would come to us like after games or practice and be like, gentlemen, I was like in a amazing Portuguese accent, like, gentlemen, I was like drinking my wine that was like whoosh over my head at the time, and I'm sure name branch Montepulciano, you know, kind of level stuff. Yeah, like thinking about how all you like were so bad yesterday, and like it was toxic a little bit, the way that like any coach speak kind of would be. Sure. But I think the messaging I received was like, I care about you. Like I was thinking, this guy who's like teaching the history in this tiny town and like doing this for pretty much out of the goodness of my heart, like am thinking about you guys and want you to have success. And I remember him looking at really each of us, but I really remember for myself, like he believed in me. Yeah. He believed in like what I could do in the field, and also that I was like listening and with him. And plenty of like stories about like state and like things and the way that he navigated all that with us. But ultimately it was like, again, the messaging was like, want you to win so that you can experience that, but I also want you to like be awake in this moment. Yeah. You know?
Incredible. Okay, we're gonna wrap it up with one last question. We're sort of switching gears a little bit, and we'll come back to this momentarily in a bit. What is it about Arsenal specifically, the style of play or the culture, or what is it exactly that like caught you and made you sort of want to be an Arsenal supporter?
Yeah, I definitely wish I had like a moment where I was like, it was this specific thing. I don't even actually know really the time. I've had to look back at team photos to be like, when did I start watching? When did I become like in contact with them? I think it was like around 2006. It was like the era of this amazing kind of yellow, deep kind of orange color away kit that I like have. This is kind of my like marker of when it started, because I have that jersey like with my name on the back. That's too small for me. But it was that magic window that I think a lot of us experienced, where for some reason cable was accessible to those of us who didn't have cable just for a second. It was like a month long, and there was like 4 new channels. And one of the channels played the Premier League like front to back on it. Like I watched so many games in this little window, magic window of time, glimpse into another universe. And I think in tandem with like what I was talking about with coaches, like ironically, the thing that drew me, a like 6th grader, to it was Arsene Wenger. Like his vibe, struggling to zip up his coat and like being thoughtful and a little gangly. I think because there weren't a lot of players that looked like my frame on the pitch. I was like, something.
You saw him in that super long coat. And you were like, this dude is got
it's for anybody. Yeah. It was really it affected me. And I'm so grateful, because it was like I kind of threw a dart at a wall. All my other friends had different teams. You know, I could have chosen the ones. I like missed the window of them winning. Like I was late to the party of the Invincibles by a few years, and to their like really good teams. I think it was like literally Thierry Henry left, and I was like, I'm an Arsenal fan now. Like, how many people are like, I'm an Arsenal fan because Henry was just tearing it up. You know, I was like, ooh, Arshavin seems good. Or like, sure. Theo Walcott sure is fast. Kind of energy. But I think now, and like, we talk more about like recent connection to being like seeing them play and stuff, but I just every day kind of get to uncover like how much I'm like so proud that to be a fan of that the club, you know, and like what they believe in and their history. It's just sort of like, wow, good job, me, who did not pick any of those reasons, but like happened upon something that I like. I love. I love pretty much everything about them.
Just good luck, basically. Seems like.
Can you imagine all that dart throw? What I could have done instead? You know?
Yeah, I know. You could have ended up a Chelsea fan like me. That's okay. We won the Club World Cup. That's a thing now, and we won it.
I definitely feel like it goes like
it does.
I think when we first met, it was like, oh, sorry for you being an Arsenal fan. It's
right.
Like
That's
it
true.
Shifts overnight.
Because that was 8 years ago.
Whoa.
Yeah. So we're actually going to stop the first half of the episode here. We're going to go back to talking about Arsenal. I know you've got some stories about your personal experience there. We'll also talk about your time working with Castle through your art. And hopefully we'll be hearing from a couple of our partners here. But ladies and gentlemen, thanks for being back. And we will be back with you shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Stone by Stone, Season 2, Episode 1. I'm joined here with my dear friend and your friend now, Kadin McGreevy. We've been talking about a lot of different things. Idaho being different from Iowa. Right. We've been talking about your experience growing up there, finding soccer as a kid in Iowa, your love of Arsenal. And we're going to step back into that part of your life. So I believe that you recently took a trip to go visit your beloved club. Yeah, a little bit.
Combo
still
from that. Yeah.
Tell me about it. When was it?
So it all kind of came together with my brother, closest in age brother Mitchell. I've evangelized like my whole family. Like, none of them were soccer fans really before, but they're all playing FPL. Like they're saying names of. They're dropping names.
Yeah, like players. U19 players. So
Crystal
like, Palace.
Like, oh, do you think I should start Johan Wissa? And I'm like, my dream has come true. Like, I've done it. Right? Yeah. So they're like really in it, and they're always saying they're using, you know, our club kind of energy in the group chats and things like that. I'm like, so good, you know. And it kind of came about in an amazing way, in that, you know, getting to tell like my family just about like what I'm going through in my life, like getting to share like that through the club, and like those things kind of being connected. And like it was a great conversation that I had with my brother, where we were just like talking about like he's got 2 daughters, like they were out of town. We were just like talking about our lives and like what we were working through and what we were dealing with. And like ever since like 2020, like I'm sure we all have some form of this, like being in the world and navigating the world. And like for me, a lot of it's like travel related, can be really stressful. Yeah. And like really crucial moments in my family life happening back home, and like having to kind of get over that to get to them and like, be with them, and getting to share like a little bit more of how that is so worth it, and also a struggle to do, kind of spark this like glint in Mitch's eyes of like, what if we did the best possible thing ever? That would be scary, but also could be really cool. Like he just texted me one day, like, should we go to Arsenal versus Man City? And me, like being like a soccer fan who knows how hard it is to get tickets to all these kinds of things, was like, thank God. My brain, it was like, that sounds like a lot, was like, that's impossible. Like there's that's not happening. Like that's not happening. But Mitch has this sort of gravitational, like momentous, like force in the way, like once he gets his ideas on something, once he gets his research brain on, like we're there. Yeah. And of course, like my brain being like, no, thank you, was like not looking where I could have looked, which was like literally our sister is in sports media and like might have somebody that she could ask that would be like connected to this thing, and like
just don't even bother. Like it's not happening.
So I was like, why would I check there? So Mitch like emailed and was like, this is our dream. Is this possible? Do you know anyone? And my sister like a week later finds someone who's like got sent over. And it was also the moment where it was like, this sounds really scary. That sounds like a long flight, short turnaround, money involved, all these kinds of things, like stressful alarm. Yes, right? Totally. And it was like the second that was true, it was like, oh, this is happening. Right? Yeah. And that ticket was like in the inbox, and it was like 2 tickets to City, clock end, like behind the like first half kickoff kind of thing.
Oh my God.
They're doing this, you know. And the whole time, like I was fighting with myself, like trying to really communicate like how this is really exciting, and on paper is like only a wonderful thing, but was like also able to express to my brother, like sweetly, like this sounds really scary. Like I'm not sure about this. Like there's a lot of things that could like I could get stressed out about this.
Yeah.
And he was just so with me like for it. Like so like that's the point of the trip. Like let's go experience all these things in one place, right? So we like got our tickets, flew over, and like never been to England. Like I've like barely been overseas like as an adult. But like it's as magic as you could possibly imagine it to be. And like our whole thing was like as much Arsenal as possible. Like let's just right. And it was like got a great pint at this pub like close to a hotel, and then it was like, should we go to the stadium? You know, like two little kids, like should we just go like look at it?
Yeah,
you know? Like,
of course.
I don't know, like pet it, like see it.
Yeah.
And we like show up. It was like 9 p.m, and it really was like it's people will say a toilet bowl or like the way that it's built, like those kinds of stadiums.
Yeah.
It's like lit up all around the exterior, and like there were just people like milling about. Like there was a guy like running training drills with a kid, like kid in cones, like under the lights, and like there's a running track kind of marker for people, so they're like jogging around it.
Yeah.
And the whole time, as if I'm sure like you can identify with this, like being an American fan of a club that's so far away from you and your identity in that. There was like, is there going to be someone there who's like checking me at the door?
Right.
Be like, name the last 10 players with number 7. Like
who was the captain of the team in 1983?
Exactly.
Idiot.
Exactly. And like, okay, send them back. Like they got to go. Like that kind of energy. You know?
Of course.
And like, instead, it was just like a bunch of people having very personal experiences with getting to see the club and like getting to kind of gather around what looks kind of like a toilet bowl, but also kind of looks like a bonfire, like fire pit, like the way that it's like glowing from the top. It was just this sort of like, whoa,
beautiful,
like, magic thing. We just came back like day on day, and like came back the next day, took the tour, went to the Tollington pub and like the Arsenal pub, and like they serve Thai food there, which is like talk about like the best possible things. Like Arsenal pub serves pints, games on, locals are bantering each other, eating Thai food, like magic, right?
Little pet CU.
Exactly what I had. Yes, 100%. We went to like the Highbury facade, which is like, it's like if you put a stadium in Lakewood, Balmoral, like it's like house, giant stadium, like facade. Perfect. And it's all like apartments now. And then like I like texted you this, like we got back to our hotel and we knew this going in, but we were staying at the team, like where the team stays. Yeah. And we like rolled up on our bikes and we're like, Mitch was like looking down the street and his eyes like lit up and he was just like, it's them. Like they're here. And I was like, I could not compute, right?
Right.
Like, turn around and they're in these 2 like unmarked giant blue buses come rolling around. And you know the buses that have like, they like have the gravitational pull like a whale.
Correct.
Like,
yeah.
It's like they're so slow. And there's so much money in those things.
Heavy,
like they're carrying
heaviest
like,
bus on earth
like,
somehow.
And they're just like float around the corner and we like rush up to the like there was like a little cordoned off section where there was all the like pros at this who had like their jerseys out and like, ready to go up and like 2 guys like the security were like,
yo,
where are you going? Like, where are you going? And I was like, we just want to see the players. Like, just can we? And they like shove us back. And I swear, like, I get behind the barricade, and you know, in Lord of the Rings, when Frodo sees the Nazgul like on the road, like the like leaves come at him.
Yeah,
and, like,
I know that
thing,
shot
like,
very
zooms
well.
in.
Yeah, but zooms out also.
Yes, exactly. It's going like kaleidoscopic kind of energy.
Yeah, of course.
Mikel Arteta is walking up the ramp, like signing stuff. And like he's got his little wheelie suitcase and his hair is locked in kind of thing. But there was like a gravity, like a real weight to like invisible what he was clearly holding. Huge game. Yeah. Magical thing. We locked eyes for like 0.1 of a second. And it was just to check if like I was asking for a signature and I was just kind of standing. Like,
you're like, baby, I don't know.
Like I don't know what to do. Saw all the players was like you to me to as a Insaka, like such a magical moment. You see them so up close on TV, but then like seeing them in person was like, whoa. Like, this is really magic.
Was that kind of the biggest like fan moment you've had?
100%. I saw them in the US, which was really cool, and it was very surreal the first time seeing them. Be like, I've seen you on TV. You're just doing like open the gate, close the gate. Like, whoa. Yeah. But it really illuminates like yourself in that moment. Is you're just like, I'm here. I'm the camera. I'm looking at these people who just are doing the most important things in the game every day, and right now are literally just like walking up steps and like going inside, and navigating that.
Context, man. perspective. It's
really
incredible.
like, and parasocial of course too, but like it was really magic to see. And then like the game, we were there like 2 hours early and we just like absorbed the entire thing. Like didn't even consider too like how they could lose. Like it hadn't really crossed our minds. Like we come all this way and like
of course.
thing, and it's like, and they're playing Man City. Like this is not an easy game.
Yeah.
And we kind of talked off and on like, but if they lose, you know, it's okay. We were this close to soccer and like that's magic.
Yeah.
But 9th minute, Holland scores, right? And the entire energy of the stadium is like, it was like totally out. And then it was just 90 minutes. It went by so fast. It was just like, you were like dead on straight with they were going the opposite way. And I just, like, Eza picks the ball up in the midfield and he just like chips it in a way that like, I immediately was like, too straight. Like, there's no way. Like, that's going at Donnarumma, who's 6'11". You know, like that. There's no way that that's going to make it to Arsenal player was already like moaning about that and just like drops into Martinelli's foot and he just like whips it over the top of Donnarumma. And it was this like frozen moment. We're so far away from it. The entire trip's leading up to this thing. Yeah. And it's like, we have no idea from our angle if that is going in. Right. If this was on TV, I would know, I would already be celebrating. I'm like watching the fans on the other side, like kind of like they can kind of tell it's going in. And for us, it was like just in line with the goalpost. The ball goes across and hits through the net, and the net comes with the ball out the other side of it. And it was like one of those screams that was like too like, is it? And then like, and it was like 2 minutes long. It's like I was like everything, the entire trip, all the stress, all of the like whole wishing for it to go well, for this to be worth it, for it to like all of it just like rolled into like a tie, right? But like
coolest tie ever though.
We were just like hugging each other and like screaming, and we're so like, it was cold and windy and we both got terrible flu bugs after that. But it was like so worth it. This like moment of, and then you go home and hear the narrative of like they're parking the bus or whatever. But it's like in that moment, it was like it meant so much.
It's incredible.
It's such a magic thing.
Okay, so we're going to switch gears slightly in terms of stadium size and budget. So we're going to move into talking about Edgewater Castle's last season, which you got to participate in for the second time as our poster designer. And you also got to be at a few games as an artist working with the club on some merchandise pieces, which we have featured here. This is one of your sweatshirts, which is absolutely sick.
Thanks for the photo,
Tell me about your experience being at a game this past season compared to like, you know, that first tryout. Or I guess your touch points with the club through the years, right?
Yeah. I think having a few glimpses of it in previous years gave me just a little bit of a like dose. And if I hadn't had that, being ground level, like at the, you know, where once we've like done our merch stuff, like walking over and just like kind of being that close, like eye level to where I was like playing and, you know, watching the right back or left back like move around and just being like immediately just from a game perspective, like the pace of it, the wit of it, the way that both teams, their ability, the way that they're moving within the system and the way that you can see them seeing lines that I wasn't even, we weren't even comprehending. We're just trying to stay alive, you know, kind of half of it and try not to get sent off kind of energy. But like it was immediate. Like it was like the moment where you step up from JV to varsity, where you are suddenly in those like keepaways and you just realize, oh, this thing is moving at a pace that I am way behind. You know? And that is a really exciting, like exhilarating thing to see. I know there's been so many pieces that I like have missed of how it has come to that point, but it's wild to see it so clearly manifested in the way that the club as a whole plays, the way that, and how that is connected to the way that the club runs. I mean, it was wild to see that pace and then like see all the moving pieces of getting match day to happen. Thinking about the days of it was just like you hauling us in the red van to Adria, and like it was like you and whatever Jackalope folks were like along for that ride, a chunk there, and like seeing all those moving pieces and seeing the kind of how many things are going into making that possible, and being kind of inside outside of that, just like being a player that was inside outside. It's like the momentum of this is really exciting, and it's also the like early stages of building like history year on year. That's why I feel like making posters is such an honor to like get to depict little like proposals of like what the club looks like, or try to reflect what the club is interested in or what its values are growing to be. Like getting to be at those match day experience, see those like stands full, and see like how much lift that is to make that happen, and trying to make a little bit about that.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think that what you've done for us, just in terms of like the visual world of the club, has obviously expanded this year, because you've done a lot of like the brand work for us this year, which is also like really good. But yeah, like your ability to capture the neighborhood and the things about the neighborhood that are unique and special is so cool, because you're also like spend a lot of time there. You live very nearby, like all of these physical references that I said to you and phone things. You'd be like, this would be a cool poster, maybe. And you're like, sure, here it is. What is your favorite, 2 questions. These will be our last 2 probably. What is your favorite like thematic element of the club as a like visual brand?
I am truly like, I mean, this is like making a lab. The things that I absolutely love. We've got waves and castles going on here, right? That always has been. I was like so bummed to miss the era of those ridiculous wave like sweatshirts. So great. Like Tyler and I were talking about that. I'm like, I actually like give me some wave motif. Like,
of course.
But I think it is truly like a hilarious combination of like 2 things. So I'm like, if you can get me kind of D&D related, or kind of like Red Wall, like magic world, like sign me up for that. But the like waves for me, I've always been like an ocean kid, like always like so much like majesty and getting to like have this kind of still but also like moving version of that here. I'm like, sign me up, and I could just riff on it forever. Plus like Chicago and like the actual like places, I feel like still to this day, like my favorite poster is Patio Beef. Like I love that place, and we go once a week, and like that, and like getting to highlight a little bit of these like places that are just the like local haunts. And the way that that's so tied into what like the club believes in, and also just like what the fans are experiencing. It's like such a fun thing to illuminate.
It's true. I mean, now that we've done, I love that we've done Patio Beef, we've done a Moody's Pub, we've done Castle Liquors now on a poster. So like the way those things do kind of fit into the rest of the world building that you've done this year, which is very like medieval, but not like warfare, which we talked about early, which is like cool, like medieval stuff, but without the Crusades, and like, try to avoid as much of the like, plague and that kind of thing as we can. And you've done such an incredible job of that.
Thank you.
What is your favorite poster that you've designed for us?
I think there are a few, like I came to art very late in my life, just like soccer. So when something looks good to me, it's a little bit of like, there's a little separation of like, I made that. Like I was not a drawer growing up. That was not something I did like very, very late in life, coming to this like way after college. So there are a few that I look at and I go like, that looks like something an artist made. Something like legit made.
That's how I respond to all of them.
And that's a really special thing to experience too. Other people reflecting that back to you. But for me, like I think the Thorndale Green Night train from last season was the first time that I went like, that looks like something I love. That looks like something that
totally.
Like, if I saw that.
The one that had like the lanterns hanging that were the shape of the crests.
Yes. There was the Loyola one.
That's the Loyola one.
Yeah.
Which one's the Thorndale one?
The Thorndale was the green set, the ball's in the middle of the road, right next to the Frontier.
Yes.
And
the Thorndale stop. Exactly. That one was gorgeous.
I think that was just the first time I went like if I saw that and that, I would be like, that's good.
I like that.
That's a really like special. But there have been many, I think, this year especially. Like I mentioned Patio Beef from last year, but like getting to do the ones that are like places that you love, like Moody's. Like Castle Liquors was such an important part for us. Like after like futsal, like going there and like hearing the early stages of the story, like how much that's connected. And like anything that I can get a pink cloud in.
Oh man, pink clouds are like one of your signatures. I love a Kadin's pink cloud.
Unofficial color.
Honestly, it is sort of like one of our unofficial secondary or tertiary colors.
Yeah.
Well, Kadin, this has been an absolute joy. You're like genuinely one of my favorite people in general, which is a bit of a, what do they call that? A double entendre. But I think that like one of the things I'm most grateful for is that we've been able to stay in touch through this thing that like came to both of us very randomly and had very little to do with why we randomly knew each other to begin with. And I think also you're a person who like just brings a lot of heart and a lot of kindness to what you do, regardless of what you do. And like what you've been able to put into our artwork over the last 2 years has like made me very happy because it is like right up my street. I just think it's great. And literally like I live right over here now. So, but yeah, I'm just super grateful to you for being a part of the club and remaining, in trust of what we're trying to do. And thank you for donating your ankles a few years ago and now your wrists and
working my way up.
Working your way up. In the mind, of course, lest we forget. But thank you so much for being on the podcast. And thank you for being a part of Edgewater Castle, man.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Ladies and gentlemen, that'll wrap up episode 1 of season 2 of Stone by Stone. I've been your host, Andrew Swanson. Thanks again to Kadin McGreevy for joining us. And we hope to see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.